Hi, and welcome to another episode of I Saw a Snake and I Almost Shat My Pants on a Trail
In
in
5D.
5D.
Do you know what kind of snake? Do you know snakes enough to be able to say, like, it was this kind?
It was definitely not a rattler, so
Okay, well, that's a good start.
that's really the only thing I'm looking out for in the area where I live in.
Is that the only, like, you gotta look out snake, or that's just the only one you know of?
Well, in this area, as far as I know, it's one of the major ones, right? Because I know there's a lot of rattlers in California. I just don't know if there's any other really dangerous snakes, especially in the area that I live in, because I'm technically by the ocean on a hill, right?
I'm looking this up.
Yeah, fair enough. But I'm just not a fan of them. Snakes and sharks are a thing that I am not a fan of at all. So what ends up happening is I just don't go in the fucking water that deep. And that's easy enough. But now that I'm going outside, which is always a terrible idea to begin with, I was walking up this trail and there was a snake all the way across the fucking trail. The thing was like about 2 feet. And so the fucked up part is I have a bit of a phobia for them. So the fucked up part was I see one, immediately do a Yui, it was just nope. I was like, nope.
Flat out, no.
I came to the person behind me, I was like, there's a snake.
Wow, actually, I will say, looking at what is supposed, like, according to, who put this out? The East Bay Regional Park District.
Ooh.
I think the only thing you have to worry about is the northern Pacific rattlesnake. There is a Pacific gopher snake that looks a lot like it, but doesn't have the rattled tail.
Mhm.
And really, everything else I'm seeing are boas, which are constrictors, king snakes, which I don't believe are poisonous, and then garter snakes, which I know aren't poisonous. The only other one is called a whip snake, and it doesn't say anything about it being poisonous. So yeah, I think really the only thing you got to give a shit about is if it's got a rattle.
Yeah. So, I mean, exactly. Didn't rattle, but puckered up my butthole real good. Real good. And my buddy steps back and he's like, all right, we got to go up there. I'm like, yeah, that's the only way up the trail. And he starts throwing rocks at it. This thing gets pelted by rocks several times and doesn't even move. So finally, one of them, we whack it. And we're not trying to hurt it, right? It's like we're just little pebbles. We're trying to get it to move. And it like whips around and starts very slowly shift. So apparently, because, you know, snakes are... they feel the vibration on the ground, so we started stomping and it was like whoop, 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 whoop. I was like, well, now that's horrifying. I didn't know they could move that fast. Yeah, it was a harrowing experience. No, it was fine.
You all died.
Yeah, everyone's safe. No, it was just fucking snakes. What you gonna do?
Wow, I'm glad you survived.
Yeah.
But was it like curled up, just like sitting in the sun? Couldn't you just like walk past it?
No, it was long ways across the entire trail, warming in the sun.
Oh,
And when I first came up to it, I didn't have enough time to register whether I saw or heard a rattle before. And even with the rattlesnakes, like, if you hear the rattle, pay attention to where you are and move away slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're mean little bastards.
Yeah. So
We are entering into spider season in my neighborhood.
Ooh, tell us about spider season. Look,
I don't know if it's like an official thing
or
or something that even other people notice a whole lot, but our neighborhood, right as spring starts, first you get the silkworms. They all hang from the trees, and then you walk in them and you just get webs in your face all the time. It's obnoxious. You kind of gotta, your eyes start to focus on little floating green things. And you go, oh, dodge the fuck out of that asshole. Dodge the fuck out of that asshole. And then you get spider season, where just after that, so like little further into spring, you start walking into spider webs between like you start walking around houses that have trees on the other side of their sidewalk, because the spiders just build webs that go across that, and you don't need to walk into it. And we kill a minimum of one spider in the house per day. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you see a big spider every day, at least one, you really start to notice and look out for spiders. So we got like a month to 2 months of spiders just everywhere. We got the salt gun.
How?
Just
Yeah, right.
blast the shit
How
out of him
did
with the
your
salt gun.
brother survive when he came up? Because
He got here just before spider season had really sunk in. I think he
Okay.
saw one when he was here, and we salt gunned it. But
That's funny. Did
this
he?
week, it's been every day except for today. We haven't gotten ours today. I almost feel like there's a quota, and if I don't get one today, that means there's 2 tomorrow.
I was gonna say you get the one a day, but at the same time, you're not counting the like 3 you eat in your sleep, right?
It's not, it's not actually real.
I know.
Right? Okay.
I know.
Yeah. What was that?
Just saying.
Did that really get originated with Snapple, or did that exist before the Snapple little facts?
No, that came from the internet.
Okay, because I remember they ended up putting it in the fucking little Snapple facts, and there was I forget what's the name of the website that does all the debunking.
Snopes.
There was a Snopes thing about it that not true.
Huh.
But
All right.
maybe there's more.
Maybe.
All right, so here we go, another week. Shit's going crazy. Well, what have you guys been watching or doing, boys?
I've mostly been questioning WoW. Classic.
Classic.
WoW.
Classic. Can I say I'm still proud of myself for this? I have never in my life played even a second of World of Warcraft.
I mean, that's fair. This is my 3rd attempt.
I played for charity once.
Never played it.
This is my 3rd attempt. The first being when I was like 14. It was at the end of the Burning Crusade, right before Drop of Lich King. So ended basically 2 or 3. And I got to level 30, and I was like, I have been questing this whole time, grinding out to 30 by myself. And this is supposed to be a massively multiplayer online game. This is boring. I'm not going to play this. And like stopped playing WoW. The last time I'd picked a mage, and I was with a group that knew what they were doing, so there was like no threat whatsoever for anything, and I just sat in the back and hit one button and casted Fireball the whole time. And I decided that was also really boring, so I didn't play WoW.
Sounded boring.
This time, my friends were playing it, and I was like, what if I get stoned and try this game? And it worked. I also decided that I was going to be a warrior as opposed to a mage, because it's a lot harder and a lot more technical than the other classes. So far, this is true. You don't have to smoke weed to play the game now. I really do like it as far as like...
But you didn't smoke. Is this a recent development?
I don't really.
Only when he plays WoW now.
It was a one-off thing. It was just to see if I can give myself to slow down enough to play and enjoy this game.
All right, fair.
There's also a difference between retail and classic, I found. Classic is much more of a social experience. You're definitely going to find more people that are friendlier, that are going to quest with you, that want to grind, because it's a lot harder of a game. Because you have to do a bunch of shit in order to get really anywhere. And depending on your class, you may need help from other classes. Like being a warrior, I may be able to tank through a couple different enemies, but I can really only take one at a time as far as killing and progressing through a quest of some kind, right?
So do you need to buy Classic as an independent thing from them, or you just buy regular Warcraft or World of Warcraft and play it on a specific server? How does Classic work?
So you get a subscription to WoW, whichever one, like just a
the basic if you're gonna play it.
I tried a month, so I said I'm gonna try a month. I paid $15. I'll probably go back and get the 3 or the 6 months because it'll save me some money with having the subscription based.
Sure.
And then from the launcher menu, there's actually a drop down that you can either play in retail or classic. I have them both installed because I didn't know that at first, so I actually installed retail first, and then had to install classic afterwards.
Oh, so it is a separate install, but I bet the classic is a much smaller install.
Oh yeah, it was like 11 gigs compared to like 80.
God, remember when that was ridiculous?
Yeah.
You're like 11 gig? What the fuck?
Yeah, it's way faster to install just classic. And so that being said, is that at any time I can go play retail at any time because the subscription works for both. It doesn't
That's
matter.
kind of cool. I'll give them that. That's cool.
Yeah, it was a nice feature. They're also planning to go to like the Burning Crusade next, so there's going to be classic, and then they're going to actually have Burning Crusade as well. So I think they're just going to redo going through.
So you'll be able
different
to play on a
patches,
server that goes up to whatever point you lost interest at.
pretty much.
How many? There's what 6, 7 expansions now?
No, 5 maybe.
So there's Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, Azeroth, and then Shadowlands. So there's 4, I think. There might be a couple in between there that I don't
That's
remember.
the ones
Oh,
with
no,
the
no, no,
fucking
no.
pandas.
There's the panda one. That's right. There's the panda one, and there's the one with the werewolves. So it's actually like 7.
Damn.
And
Okay.
wait, did goblins have their own expansion, or they were just introduced in one of the other expansions? Because I know they brought in.
I think they were introduced into another one. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know all the WoW lore. I'm still learning all that. I can't say.
Wait,
that-
did you never play any of like Warcraft?
No, I never played. I played StarCraft.
What?
Yeah, no, I didn't have a PC for a long time.
Honestly, my biggest problem with World of Warcraft, and this isn't the reason I've never played it. I've never played it because the gameplay never seemed interesting. I'm not an MMO guy. I've tried various MMOs throughout the years. There's only been a handful that I've ever like enjoyed, and nothing that I've been like die hard for. Just getting that out of the way. But one of the things that really, truly killed me, even when World of Warcraft first came out and became such a big deal, I was in like late middle school, early high school. Well, as late as you can get in a 2-year middle school, but you know what I mean? When World of Warcraft came out and it just started to get popular, I went, fuck. You know what sucks about this is now I'm never going to get to play Warcraft 4. Warcraft 4 will never happen because of World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah.
1 and 2 are okay, Klops, and I don't know if you'd like... I don't think you're too hard of an RTS guy to like really appreciate like an old clunky RTS, you know what I mean? Like I don't think you're so deep into RTS that like you can go back and grab the roots and appreciate what comes out of it. But Warcraft 3 is a legit fucking game. You should really play Warcraft 3. I think you'd really enjoy it. I'm told that the HD remake is really buggy, so maybe don't hold that against it if that's the only version you can find. But like the game itself, the story, the free maps that came on it was newer than StarCraft, so it had that, but better.
Right. No, I understand that. Actually, I really do like RTSs. I've thought about going back and getting Warcraft, specifically 3, because my friends had interest in it.
3's really good.
What I'm finding though is that when it comes to RTSs, I don't like the kind of RTSs that StarCraft and Warcraft are. They're not bad games, and I can play them like for like co-op or whatever, right? You know, but games that follow that along the lines of that, it's basically how many units you can pump out quickly.
Warcraft 3, I will say, Warcraft 3 has the slight difference of having a hero system.
I understand. There's heroes that you can do. There's other games like that. I'm just saying that like the core gameplay of it though is that you build your barracks or whatever, you build your thing to get your other units, to pump out your units to get to the thing to destroy the enemy, right? And it's how quick you can do that. And I find that with RTSs, the 2 types of RTSs that I really enjoy are things that are similar to like XCOM, where you have a small unit and you kind
That's
of
not
like
RTS, that's tactic.
it's
Different.
Speaking of, I just got XCOM 2 on the Switch. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I'm looking forward to that shit.
I was disappointed with XCOM 2.
Oh
that's
man,
fair.
because I liked 1. Sorry,
I'm saying that
go ahead.
I like tactics, right? But the other one that I like is more of a skirmish-based RTS, which is more like Company of Heroes 2.
Where you only have a set number of units and it's all about doing the best.
No, there are definitely levels do different things. The like Russians, for example, in that game, because they're Russia, are very dependent on conscripts. And conscripts are just your base units that they don't really do anything right at first. They're like riflemen pretty much. But they could be folded into other units or even take over other things like tanks. Like if there's a broke down tank on the battlefield, like you didn't destroy it completely, you could repair it and put your conscripts in it and they'll learn how to use that tank, and now you have an armored unit with it.
That's like a Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun. You could get the
Yeah.
mutant commando, and the mutant commando could even take over civilian trucks if you could find them. And the
Mhm.
GDI bases wouldn't shoot at a civilian truck, so you could use it as a 3-man drop off. Just drive straight into the base and drop 3 dudes off.
That's
Oh,
cool.
Tiberian Sun. Tiberian Sun was the jam, bro.
Yeah, I heard that one was really good for the Command and
You
Conquer
play Tiberian
series.
Sun? Oh, Tiberian Sun. Tiberian Sun's the shit.
I played Red Alert 2. That was the one that I played of the Command
Red
and Conquer
Alert 2's
ones.
yeah, that's
Um,
the big one though, you know.
Yeah. So like games like that add a little bit more elements to it. There's also battle lines. There's also there's a whole plethora of difference in this like skirmish based RTS compared to the regular RTS or grand strategy RTS.
Sure.
And I even don't mind some grand strategy RTS like Warhammer, Total War Warhammer, or Total War Attila, or Total War, the Total War series. So I don't mind some of those. But getting back to World of Warcraft, I find that I'm really enjoying it as far as like when I first started, I ended up meeting a person. His name is Bert, and him and I have just been regularly questing. Like it's just him and I doing the quests. He's enjoying the slow down grind because he's mostly gone into like the higher game stuff and has done a bunch of raiding and stuff. And I'm kind of enjoying this like kind of grind to get to 60 and doing the questing and kind of experiencing the world, right? The actual gameplay that captivated so many people about this game, the questing, because it feels really D&D, and it's because they took heavily from D&D. And so because of that, I can see that as far as classic, as where I couldn't see that in retail a lot. It was very much in retail, it's very much about getting to the in-game content and then grinding out that and just doing that with your friends.
Right.
Whereas this is a lot more about the journey to that top and then doing all the in-year stuff kind of thing.
That's kind of how I feel about a DCUO. DCUO, you have this nice long solo game to play, and then once you're done with that, it becomes like, okay, here's like this set of raids, go grind for armor.
Yeah, and I can see that. So I'm enjoying a lot more. I still don't like the macro system as much. I'm getting used to it. It's not bad. It's just not my cup of tea as far as like systems that I like. But I like more of an action RPG where like when I dodge, I dodge. Whereas this one, it's very much like if something's hitting me, it's most likely going to hit me because of the rolls and stats that are involved with it. I am enjoying the lore a lot more. Matter of fact, I've started looking up more of the lore to learn more about it and about the world around it.
Warcraft lore is pretty dope, I will say.
It is. It is very fun. I don't know. So like I'm a skeptic of MMOs. There's only been 3 that I've ever liked. This one being WoW Now is one of them now, like WoW Classic.
Yeah.
But
that's
before
very
that,
blunt.
it was Knights of the Old Republic, just
Yeah.
because it's Star Wars nostalgia, and that's where they got me on it. And the Secret War or Secret World.
Oh man, Eduardo liked that
I
one.
love
couldn't get
Secret
into
World. I
it.
still play that sometimes. I love Secret
Couldn't
World.
get into it.
I haven't done much of it.
That
I got
the missions on that game, the investigation missions, where you actually have to like solve mysteries, and the nods to Lovecraft and
yeah.
King are fucking amazing. I love that game.
Yeah, that's why
The
I like
world
it.
they
'Cause
said was
it's
cool,
super-
but I fucking hated the gameplay.
See, I actually didn't mind the gameplay
Yeah.
because like they had the dodge and like there's no set classes, so you can go into whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of like that. I'm interested in playing more of that eventually. It's just none of my other friends have interest in playing that, so it's like, why would I play it? Kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that if you don't like MMOs, it's a 50-50 shot if you like this one. If you could definitely find someone to grind with you from the beginning of your grind all the way to however far you make it, it's probably going to be a much more enjoyable experience, especially if that other person has a little bit more knowledge in the game and kind of knows the direction of where to go and what to do, because it's less like, well, there's still quests in this area, shouldn't I do these quests? And it's more like, well, we did all these quests, let's go to the next area and get some new change of scenery kind of thing.
Sure.
Speaking of which, I'm on a PvP server, so out of this zone that I'm in now starts to become a factor into the game as well. So it may change a lot of my opinion. I think I'm going to have a lot more fun being able to both dance and mess with the Alliance and just like fuck over people on their quest.
All right, you're a monster. We understand that.
I just want to be really high level and then go around to like all the like low level PvP zones and just find all the alliance and just like dance and just like be around them.
Just make them
And
uncomfortable.
Just make them uncomfortable.
That's funny. He's just gonna troll them.
Yeah.
You should record and make some clips with Oppa Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
Dated references. Yay!
It's a dated game.
Yeah.
Do you want to do you want to give Classic WoW a rating?
I'm not gonna give it a rating yet because I'm only level 24 and like you really can't get. I really wouldn't give it a rating until at least level 40. The top tier is level 60.
Okay.
I am gonna give it a recommendation though if it's something that seems interesting or like if you're like dabbling on the idea of going back to do it, try it for a month.
And are the server wait times less severe now?
I mean, I don't have any server wait times. I go right in.
Okay, because when it first came out, Saint was having major issues.
Oh
He'd be-
yeah, because people were flooding those servers.
Yeah, he'd
Yeah.
be playing a game with us, and then he'd be like, "Okay, sorry guys, I just got through. Bye."
Yeah.
Anybody else think that 60 has become this weird standard in video games? Like, just why 60 is your max level?
Borderlands
does
did what,
come
57?
from? Huh?
Isn't the max level in Borderlands like 57 or 55?
Yes,
or
which is
something?
also really weird.
Yeah.
I just don't get what's with obscure numbers like this in games. I don't understand it.
60 is a prime number. It's 6. So you divide it into 2 and it's 3. It's a prime number.
How does that? But wouldn't like 5s or 10s just be easier? I mean, I guess it is. Okay, it does. But I mean, like
no.
a 25, a 50, a 100.
Because the number 3 in numerology is the divinity.
So
Oh,
you think
witchcraft
that
that
took
means.
that into? Yeah, you think that's what they took into account? I'm sure.
fucking
I'm
know.
sure that's what it was. You
I'm
fucking.
I'm just giving bullshit.
You,
I don't,
you
I don't even know what
charlatan.
the fuck. I just think 60 is a weird number. I don't know. I don't feel 60. I don't like it.
Well,
Maybe that's the way the numbers worked out better.
Klops, you're gonna do a game. What are you gonna make the level cap?
69.
All right, Eduardo, you're gonna do a game. What are you gonna make the level cap?
42.
Really, 42? All right.
You?
I'm thinking like 10, just because I don't want to put a lot of work into it.
That seems like a really shitty game where you never level.
Yeah, yeah. That's everybody has like the D&D game they played. Like me, I'm pretty stingy with levels in my game. I don't just puke levels at people because I feel like a game should go on for a really long time. It should feel like an epic. I want to make a video game like that where like you need to put hours and hours and hours and hours of the game. You'll get a level as the game you want to play. I'm gonna do it. Everybody's gonna hate me.
Except for all the people that
I've been
like
playing.
grinding
I've
and,
been
like,
playing a
RuneScape.
couple of games. Wait, what was that, Klops?
Unless, except for all the people that like grinding and RuneScape, then they'll love you.
That's fair.
I
You
never
chop
played
down 50
RuneScape.
trees, one experience
It's kind of what
1,000
RuneScape's
per
like.
level. Eduardo, I've been playing. I think it's older. I don't know how
It-
old, but I
it
know
is
it's older. But Axiom Verge for the Switch. I got the Switch release. I think it was PC first. I gotta say, as a kid, I was really bad at them and I didn't like them. And something recently, man, I've just been craving Metroidvania games. Like, I need Metroidvania games in my life.
You got
right
the
now.
bug.
Huh?
You got the bug.
I do. I've got whatever flu Metroidvania games are. So I jammed through like Rogue Legacy. I jammed through. I played a couple on my PC. Just kind of knocked them out really quick. And then I picked up Axiom Verge. So it's one of those games where I've already beaten the main boss, but then I looked and I only have 65% of the items and like 90% of the map. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going back in and then fighting the boss again because it's just kind of not enough. Not that the game was short, not that the game was easy, but that's just such a low amount of the items for me to have that I'm like, I know where there's like 2 things that I couldn't figure out how to get. That means there's a bunch of shit I didn't even see, bro. So it's got a really cool, really different kind of map. The plot's fun. kind of through a lot of the game, you're not sure if your character's truly dead or what's going on. And he seems to be able to die and get reborn in the eggs. The art styles, this weird, like, honestly, it really feels throwbacky to original Metroid a little more than Castlevania, but a little more gothy, you know?
I just felt like I played a little bit of this game. I haven't finished it by any means. I do think it's a really fun Metroid game. The art style itself does remind me a lot more of Metroid, but it has like this weird color contrast to it.
Yeah.
That very much is different than any other kind of like Metroid game that I've played, which is fine. It's fun. It doesn't take away from it. I was also noticing that a lot of the like boss types were like bug-like.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is like machine bugs.
Yeah. And so like I don't know, it was cool, but it also like got really repetitive as far as like trying to kill them because they would just like change the different colors and then die, and it was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean the boss fights work a lot like a Cuphead boss. It's all just pattern recognition. So once you understand, and like a lot of Metroidvanias do that with their bosses. Like I'm not faulting this for that. That's what this is. Your boss battles are mostly pattern memorization.
I just felt they had too much HP.
I will say at a point, at least for me in my playthrough, with only 65% of the items, there were a couple bosses that I could brute force. I didn't give a shit about their pattern. I knew enough to just sit there and blast away at them and take them out.
Is that good or bad, though?
Huh?
Because I know there's a lot of games where that ends up happening, especially like Borderlands. Do you find that to be good or bad?
Sort of depends on the game, and this one I didn't mind because it seemed like for the couple bosses I could brute force, there were a few bosses that took me a day or two of like, and when I say a day or two, I mean a day or two of my playtime, not like an actual, I played all day, you know what I mean? But it took me a day or two to like actually take down a couple of the bosses. And what I was about to say, one of the things I actually thought was interesting is right before the final boss, there is a totally optional boss. You can walk in, trigger the fight, and walk right back out the other side of the room. So I went and I found that like that's the final boss right there, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna feel like a real piece of shit if I don't go back and beat that guy. And that guy ended up actually being one of the toughest ones. I think it was the bee. It's like a big bee, and his pattern is fucking hard to dodge even when you get the pattern. And just your weapon sets aren't. Again, I have 65%. Maybe there's a weapon that just slams this guy, but for the weapons that I at least had, I didn't really have anything that was like really key at hitting this dude in the right spot at the right time in the pattern. So I was more having to make it work. I will say that second to the last boss was really brutal. The final boss was also really hard. I don't know that I actually understood the final boss's pattern as well as I did. I was more just crafty enough to know when I could slip up and only slip up at those points. I don't know. I had a lot of fun. Like I had enough fun that finishing the game with only 65% of the items at least makes me want to do one more pass through the map to see if I can find anything else I didn't find. Because there actually is a point in the game. There's an item you need to get, but the area you have to go to is a glitched area. So the entrance to it is not anywhere on the map. You totally have to discover this by getting kind of pissed off and not knowing where to go next and just like slamming yourself into walls and shit. So I found the glitched area eventually and then like made my way through it. But I did think it was kind of cool because it's totally the kind of area you would slam yourself into once you're desperate enough to start slamming yourself into areas to find where to go, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like once you see it and you're desperate to find it, you try that spot, but you have to be in that mindset to find that spot, which was, I don't know, it was kind of cool. And it was a fun way to kind of add some frustration / game elongation into there by doing that, but it definitely made me take a couple more passes through some more difficult areas and get those down better, which were skills that paid off through the game. I don't know, I think I'm really appreciating that a lot of these Metroidvanias, and Axiom Verge is an absolute testament to how to do this correctly, are really good at not holding your hand and explaining like, this is how you defeat this, hit this button at this time to do this. It's real big on like, hey, walk up to that guy. See how he murdered you? Don't let him do that again. You know what I mean? Like Mega Man was also really good at that. And although I'm not a big Mega Man fan, what I like is that Mega Man, even from the first game, never had much of a tutorial. That game was trial and error of the game. It was go. See what you did there? Don't do that. You know? And Axiom, I don't know. It captures it really well. It really feels like a solid modern Metroidvania.
I just think it's funny because you like it in these games, but not Dark Souls like games.
Again, my problem with Dark Souls is not the amount of times you die, and it's not the difficulty, and it's not the pattern recognition. My only issue that I've had with the Dark Souls that I've played is the amount of time it takes you to get to a point where you don't have to replay a big chunk. You're not looking at 5 to 10 minutes of gameplay. You're looking at 20, 30, 40, an hour of gameplay that you have to replay. That I can't do.
I still think, well, because you're talking specifically about Bloodborne, that's because you didn't know the shortcuts, I believe.
Sure, but
I think that is
you have to
that,
sink the time in to find it, and with a game of that difficulty level, I'm not looking for a shortcut. I just want to get to the next spot. I've heard this comparison over. Like I've had people with Cuphead because I'm a big Cuphead fan, and I have people all the time. How could you like Cuphead but not Dark Souls? It's like the same. I'm like, no, just because something's hard doesn't mean it's Dark Souls.
I don't think Cuphead's like that.
I would actually even say like Cuphead is not hard. Cuphead is challenging, but it's not a hard game. Cuphead's pretty easy. You're only ever replaying 2 to 5 minutes of gameplay.
Well, also Cuphead is more about the boss battles because it's all boss battles.
Sure, and like the game, I'm fine with a boss battle gauntlet. I'm fine with the pattern recognition. I think if there was a way to do just a gauntlet of the boss battles of Dark Souls, I'd be into it. I hate the ads. I hate the travel. My problem with Dark Souls is really that a random unit can be just as devastating of a battle as a boss battle can. You can be
in regular Dark Souls
wrecked by an ad. No, but dude, I see people all the time. They're just walking across a bridge. Oh, an ad shows up, pokes him once, he falls off the bridge, he dies.
So in regular Dark Souls compared to instead of Bloodborne, Dark Souls itself had a much more easier progression as far as like getting to the different bonfires for the new areas. And I don't believe that one ad would be the difference as the same as a boss. It definitely was not.
For me in Bloodborne, like one dude shows up and you're like, all right, I can do it. 2 to 3 dudes show up and you're like, oh my god, just throw another fucking werewolf at me at this point. I don't care. And then I hit a point where there was like a werewolf and 2 dudes, and I was like, nope.
So like in Dark Souls, having multiple enemies on you can be very very, very difficult. But depending on how you play, it might not be that difficult at all. What it really comes down to is
you mentioned was that Bloodborne you found a lot better when you had other players with you, and I was doing solo. And I don't remember if I told you this on stream or on podcast or not. And maybe we can convince the other guy to stream it. But I have a buddy who is into Bloodborne, really wants me to play. So I think if I could get you and him to play with me, I'd at least give it a shot. I can't guarantee that we'd play more than one round before I went, fuck you guys, I'm just not doing this. But if I can get both of you to play it with me, I think I'd give it another shot.
That's fair. I don't want to jump into another 12-month subscription to PlayStation Plus to have you go, nope. After one run.
That's fair. That is totally fair.
If you want to give me a subscription for a month or something like that for PlayStation Plus,
maybe.
Sure.
I just bought. So my best friend just got a PlayStation. Surprise to everybody on the stream. None of us are best friends. So, but my best friend just got a PlayStation, and one of the guys we play D&D with has been playing a bunch of Vermintide. So we convinced him to get Vermintide, and I bought him a couple months of PlayStation Plus. Is like, hey man, let's all play a game together and do some Vermintide on PlayStation.
Yeah, like I said, if you want to give me a month or something and try it out, then I'm totally down to help run through Bloodborne with you. I still think that Dark Souls is a different breed compared to Bloodborne. Bloodborne is all about the dodge, and Dark Souls you can either be dodge or you could be.
In general, I really don't dodge in games.
So that is a necessity in Bloodborne. In Dark Souls, you could do a dad build and like actually tank things.
Yeah, see,
So I
do
feel
more
that
than
that's also different as far as like that. But yeah, in Bloodborne, there is no block, only dodge and parry, no block.
Yeah, see, I don't dodge, and I'm not a timing guy. I have really awful timing. It's why I'm not a musician. So parry is not a dodge and parry. I don't block, I don't dodge, I don't parry in games. Most games I tank.
Yeah, so
Or
maybe
I tank or I range. I stay all the way the fuck back here and I deal with you on my terms.
so then maybe the actual like Dark Souls remake might be better for you than Bloodborne.
Maybe
As far
for
as
now,
those games.
For now, man, I'm telling you, I'm on a Metroidvania kick. So much so, I also got Dead Souls or Dead Cells, not
Dead
Dead
Cells.
Souls, Dead Cells for the PlayStation. Look, I don't want to shit on this game, but I will say this right up front.
Oh no.
Maybe it's that I'm not far enough in and the game is way bigger than I think it is, but Dead Cells seems really easy. Like, I'm dying because of mostly stupid, careless mistakes, or I'm running out of time and I really want to go get lunch or do something else, and I'm like, okay, we're done here. I'll just bank in the cells that I have and pick up later. That's mostly what's killing me. I'm not saying like I've never run into a point where I'm like, fuck, that was rough or anything like, but mostly. That's most of my deaths. I feel like either the game is much, much bigger than I think it is, or I've really hit a lot of this game really early on, and it's really not that difficult. Once you get some weapons that you're okay with, you're cruising through this game, bro. Klopsy, I know you played it a little bit, yeah?
No, I haven't played Dead Cells. That was
I thought you
Eduardo.
did do Dead Cells.
No.
I played
Okay.
it. I enjoyed it.
Did you beat it?
No.
How far did you get? Do you know?
Yes. So, how many bosses have you fought?
I have fought 3 bosses. The first one was challenging. The next 2 with the weapon loadout I had, I did like one of them. I was like, okay, lunch is coming up. I'm gonna half heart this, and I'm probably gonna die. And I just slammed this dude.
Okay.
I ended up playing for like another half hour after that when my wife is like, can we please eat lunch? And I'm like, you're gonna want to heat up your shit because I'm hot right now. Like I'm jamming through this.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I did have some difficulties, but it's also has to do with the fact I hate fucking roguelites.
Right.
So
And I will say this is a rogue light.
yeah, pretty much.
There's a lot of stuff that carries with you, especially once you unlock the ability to start with random weapon sets.
Yeah.
The base weapons are just so junky that if you can start with something even kind of better, you're off to a good running to get good items
Yeah.
to then just jam through with. Plus there's, the addition of some permanent runes and things, which a lot of them do, like even like Moonlighter that you and I were a big
I
fan
love
of.
Moonlighter. I
Moonlighter
like
had a lot of
Moonlighter a
stuff.
little bit more than Dead Cells.
Oh, I'd even hazard to call Moonlighter a full roguelike. It's more of like a Zelda game with roguelike elements.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily roguelike.
I'd go so far as to say
got
Dead
bored
Cells
with
is a roguelite.
Moonlight. I kind of got bored with Moonlighter.
Oh, I loved Moonlighter.
At what
Especially for
point did you drop
25 bucks.
off?
A Switch game that you can pick up a physical copy for $25. It was worth me beating just to make 100% sure that I got my money's worth.
Fair enough. I bought it for like $4.
I got it in a Humble Bundle, I think, and I just
Well, again, physical. I got physical.
yeah, I didn't get physical. I got on the PC, and like I don't know, I just kind of got bored with it. I don't know, I just didn't grip me as hard.
I mean, how bored can you get? There's only 5 dungeons.
I think I got to Dungeon 2 and was like, I'm gonna go play another roguelike.
I think you're bad at it.
No, I think I'm good at roguelikes. I just
the gameplay in Moonlighter does evolve with each dungeon, and I think the mechanics they add might interest you more. Because there is a dungeon where they start crossing mechanics, so you're not dealing with one mechanic at a time, and that was really fun. Dead Cells, I feel like keeps up a good pace of adding new enemy types. I will say, at first I was like, man, I'm never going to use these traps. And then a little bit in, I was like, traps? You my boy right now. I like you, Traps. Traps, you're dope. I'm all about you. There's a lot of points where I'm just like, there's this one trap. It's called like the Sinew Shredder, but all it does is it just shoots at an enemy, but you have to be near enough to it to power it. It works great for anything below you. Oh shit, there's a couple guys down there? Yeah, I don't feel like getting hit by that. Drop that guy. Hey, that thing works so well.
I've done that.
Grenades, which are again like usually something that I like weirdly. I have no reason for it, but grenades in games, like my brain goes, that's sacred. Use those sparingly. Where Dead Cells, I'm like, fuck, bro. Grenades are just plain handy. Grenade for you, grenade for you, grenade for you. I don't know, something about the game just and maybe it's because I've been jamming through Metroidvania games. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving the shit out of it, but unless it's much larger than I think I'm moving through it at a pretty good clip.
Are you just beating it to beat it, or are you also paying attention to all the little side stories and all
I'm
that?
reading the side stories and stuff. Like, I won't say there's nothing I haven't clicked through, but I'm reading the side stories. I'm checking stuff out. But there are parts where I'm like, all right, I've explored the fuck out of you. I'm just going to run through. I'm not even going to fight nothing. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because there are some parts between, so in Dead Cells, between each level, we'll call it, quote unquote level, there's a checkpoint where you can kind of buy some new items, bank in some experience, and gain some things. I've derailed myself by explaining the premise. No idea what I was going to talk about. You needed this bit to understand what I was going to say, but I erased what I was going to say by explaining the bit you needed to understand. Wow.
Dead Cells.
Give it a rating.
Shit, hold on. Can I recover?
Can you?
Can you hear the crickets behind me? I hope those were...
Dude, that hamster on the fucking wheel in your brain is choking right now.
I fed my frog crickets because he's been acting weird and the mice have been attacking him. So we gave him crickets because they wouldn't attack him, and he can still eat. He's
getting pretty old, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was telling Klops. He's on the older side, so I'm not like wigged out that he's acting weird. He's really old, so weird behaviors just sort of in the cards. Either way, Dead Cells, really fun. Let's hold off on rating it until I'm further, because again, maybe I have this snap decision that after seeing 3 bosses, that's a third of the bosses or something, and I'm moving through it at a bit. I've played the game twice, is really what I'm saying. I've done 2 play sessions on Dead Cells, and I've already whipped 3 bosses. Like, Rogue Legacy took me much longer to beat the second and third boss than just 2 sessions. Dead Cells have already whipped up 3 bosses, so I'm hoping it's just bigger than I thought it was. We'll hold off on rating, but it is fun, and if you like roguelites, definitely check out Dead Cells. I will say another, like, casual mention, because I'm gonna play it, but I haven't sunk in too much time. I bought the TurboGrafx 16 Mini.
Okay.
First of all, dope mini console. Way better than the PlayStation. Fantastic lineup of games. Feels really smooth, feels really clean. The controller feels great. A little bummed it only ships with 1 controller. A little bummed it doesn't ship with a power hub. It's one of those ones where it gives you the USB power cord, and they're like, either you have a hub or your TV has the port, deal with it. And I'm like, bro, you're just trying to save yourself $5 and you're a dick for it. At least give me a second controller if you're not going to give me the hub. I mean, come on. But it has Castlevania Rondo of Blood, which is supposed to be like one of the best Castlevania games. The only downside, it's in Japanese. They did not translate it.
Oh,
there's like 10 to 14 games on the TurboGrafx that they're like, hey, these are all in Japanese. And I think the reason they did it was because they didn't want to make 2 versions of the console. They just made 1 version and went, this half's in English, that half's in Japanese. Send them out. I think, I don't have proof. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. That's just me noodling off the top of my head. I don't know why you'd release half the library in exclusively Japanese and half in English. That's my best guess.
Yeah.
But I do want to play through Rondo of Blood. Fantastic Metroidvania game that I've always wanted to play and never had a console that had it. So Rondo of Blood, big time on my list. Definitely going to run through that. And some more TurboGrafx 16 games. I'm really into that console right now.
I feel another one that you might like is Heroes of Hammerwatch.
Ooh, I
It's
haven't
not-
heard of this.
It's not on Switch. I hope that they do bring it over eventually.
Or Enter the Gungeon. Did you ever?
Into the Gungeon's good too.
I've been looking at it, but the price tag's a little too high on Switch right now.
Yeah, get it when it drops to like $7.
Yeah,
So-
I'm feeling like 10 to 12 might be the most I pay.
Yeah, it's totally worth it for that. Heroes of Hammerwatch is really fun, and you can actually do multiplayer on it, so it might
Ooh.
actually be fun as well. for
Multiplayer
multiplayer.
Metroidvania would be really cool.
It's a little bit more of just a roguelike. It's a dungeon crawler. It's more like Moonlighter, I guess.
Oh, okay. I can get into that too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like top down view or
I-
Into the Gungeon. It's like that
such a
too.
weird craving, man, because I did not like games like this as a kid. Even like into high school, I played a few that were cool, but like I was never into it. And then just something one day, I was like,
You never liked Smash TV?
no, no, I did not.
Oh, see, I did.
But yeah, like I never liked them, and even to the point, a former co-host Figbird was really big into the Metroidvania roguelike stuff, and it was not for me.
He
And
do
lately,
speedruns and stuff, right?
yeah, big into that. But lately for me, man, like I've just been feeling it. It's just been scratching this itch. I really think. Do you know what I really think it is, dude? I'm needing this Cuphead release on Switch.
Oh, I
I know-
thought it was
I-
that you finally became a man.
Ooh, get good, scrub. Okay, so I'm really needing that game. I realize that it's out on Switch and digital, but apparently the physical version is going to be the Game of the Year equivalent, where it has the DLC and the regular game on one physical cartridge.
That'd be
So
cool.
I'm really waiting for the physical release of Cuphead on Switch. I really want to dive into that, man. I really like Cuphead, and I've been wanting to replay it, but I don't want to replay it only for it to get announced at like it's coming out in 3 weeks, because that's the cool thing to do now, right? Is give people a month notice, which I'm actually for. I like that companies aren't doing a year of hype on a game. Let me know the shit's coming out within the quarter, and I'm good. But I don't want to replay Cuphead and then burn out on playing Cuphead only to have the physical release come out. I want to fucking grab that first day and sit down and Cuphead it up. That's what I want. Ooh, also, wait, gaming news, guys. Like I know we're running low on time, but I gotta throw this out there. A little bit of gaming news. Did you guys see they were supposed to do the PlayStation 5 reveal tomorrow, and they pushed it back because they're like, look, people have a lot more important things on their mind right now. We don't need to talk about a gaming console right now. Let people deal with what's going on in the world, and then we'll talk about our fucking video games. And I gotta say, yeah, it's a good call, PlayStation. I would have sat down and I would have watched it and I would have been fine, but I get it. It's a good call. It's a good
I
call.
didn't see that. I just saw that they canceled BlizzCon.
Oh yeah, BlizzCon got canceled, but the PlayStation 5 reveal got pushed back.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that was thing, but that's cool. Let's go
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah, like I just,
It's a responsible
I feel it.
decision you're making,
Yeah.
Sony.
exactly. It was responsible. That was the right thing to do. It makes sense. But a little disappointed. I was looking forward because I feel like Xbox has just been trying to like drop information and be like, they don't got nothing. Look what we got. So Sony's had time to really plan something. Basically meaning if Sony drops the ball on this reveal and it sucks, they have no one to blame at this point but themselves. Because Xbox has been going like, we got this. Hey, also we got this.
Yeah.
You know what? This information where PlayStation's been like, we're not saying shit.
Did you see that other piece of news though?
Hmm.
One of the heads of Sony basically said that the PS5 is going to be more expensive, but totally worth it.
No, what?
Look, I realize that this is a unique situation just for me. I'm not saying should work for everybody, and I'm not saying this is good advice. I had 2 vacations planned this year. They were both canceled because of COVID. So I've already braced my wife that when these consoles drop, I'm just going to spend my vacation money on buying both of them. I'm
That's
saving that like it's literally an entire year. I'm saving up. I can drop the $600 to $800 on 2 consoles back to back. I'm just gonna buy both. I don't care anymore.
Fair enough.
I'm a console collector, man. I'll end up with both eventually. I have an Xbox One and I have like 4 games for it, and that's fine because I'm a console collector. I like having consoles. I will end up with both of these. Klops, you gonna start with one? You gonna not do either? Where you at?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm much more of a PC player, so I probably won't. I just finished upgrading, or actually building a new PC.
Nice.
So I probably won't pick up a console. I use my PlayStation for streaming Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. It is pretty much my giant Amazon stick.
It does, but before I just had some extra cash. Like that's really what this is. I just have some extra cash because my shit got canceled. You know what I mean? Before I had the extra cash, really for what it was going to come down to for me was who has the exclusives, and nobody's talking about exclusives yet. So I'm like, cool, it's up in the air. I don't care until one of you comes up with something where I'm like, that's what I'm going to play.
I'm pretty sure I'll probably get a PlayStation 5, especially if they announce Bloodborne 2.
Well, yeah, that's. I was kind of planning on PlayStation because usually they have the exclusives, but I was willing to give Xbox the benefit of the doubt. Eduardo, you fallen one way or the other? You got any hot takes, any feelings that are going to surprise us?
Honestly, the next Halo game is probably going to be on the Xbox, so that's the one I'm going to get.
Man, after 4 and 5, you're still in.
Well, there's
to be fair though, they
okay.
they could go back to being more of a classic too. You know what I mean? Like they could change it to going back.
And to be fair, if whoever either Sony or not Sony, but either fuck, I can't remember the name of the developer.
Microsoft?
No. I'm talking about the people that make the Ratchet and Clank games.
Oh, Insomniac.
Insomniac. If Insomniac announces a Ratchet and Clank game before the Halo game is announced, I'll probably go PlayStation first. I'm definitely not going to buy both of them at the same time. But
one thing I will say, a big thing on the PlayStation that they had going for them is they announced that the PSVR would be compatible with the 5, though it also sounds like they're going to release an updated version of the PSVR as well. So that's kind of like, I like that I just got this thing and it's not already old hat, but the option of upgrading it in a year or two is kind of cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm for my entertainment, I have the Xbox One. That what I like about it is that it's not just like an Amazon stick. I think it's better because it does everything, right? It can play my Blu-rays and everything. So that's my primary right now, but I do have the PS4. So I'll probably keep the Xbox One around as long until I replace it. So I don't know.
I think the only real difference between, because like mine plays Blu-ray discs. I think the only difference that it really
Amazon
has that
stick?
I feel that my PlayStation 4.
Oh,
Both of them play Blu-ray. I can confirm this as I use them interchangeably.
Is I think that Xbox has Shudder.
Shudder? Yes.
A Shudder.
Yes, and you are right. And one of the reasons I'm on my Xbox so often is because of Shudder.
Yeah, and I don't have that available in PlayStation, which is kind of shitty.
Very weird. Yeah, I was taken back.
huh.
I've thought about getting an Amazon stick just so I can replace the PS4 so I can have it.
Bro, I got one of those. I only got it because it was on sale. They do the Amazon Fire Stick 4K or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That one comes with a programmable remote. So my TV downstairs, my dog actually chewed on the remote and like destroyed it, like unusable. So we were like, fuck it, we'll just use the physical buttons on the side until we plugged that thing in and it was like, what kind of TV you got? And I was like, this kind. I can turn my TV off and on, volume up and down, all because of that Fire Stick. That thing's dope.
Well,
and it was like,
and it was on
we got
sale.
it on sale for $20.
Yeah, it was super on sale. I got one too for the downstairs. Yeah, it was cool. All right, so that brings us right around that time. And any final words, Klops?
I'm gonna go play Tarkov.
Still? Wow.
Bonsai.
I honestly didn't think that was going to have that kind of staying power for you.
It's new wipe. It's some new stuff added. They added a bunch of stuff to it.
Okay. Next week, maybe a little Tarkov review?
Yeah, sure. I can do an update on it.
All right.
Sounds good.
Eduardo, I want to ask you, nobody ever asked you if you got final words. What are your final words, Eduardo?
Check us out on Podbean
not
and
final words.
iTunes. We are also on Metagame Network on Twitch, twitch.tv/Metagame Network. And those are my final words.
You forgot about Bias Bros every other Thursday.
Bros.
My bad. I didn't
Every
forget about
other
that.
Thursday.
It was last Thursday, not this Thursday. So when this comes out, it'll be the previous Thursday to this one.
Klops has developed a weird memory for when these episodes drop.
That's cool.
Klops knows the Bias
clearly,
Bros
I have
schedule
not.
better than I know the Bias Bros schedule. Does that make Klops an official producer on the Bias Bros?
I don't know. I've never like listened to it in my life, but I know when it comes out and what it does.
Gee, thanks, buddy. I
All right.
appreciate you.
On that note, bye.
Bye.
See ya.